Sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.
Rebel soul child got a fist ball. I'm a respawn of ancestors, and I'm blessed, They are not him, tell him fess up. I get check stub, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella reckless. Yeah, I got next up, right? No, we not the same, cause see when I look in your iris, you likely to talk but not ready to ride. You do better keeping it quiet. My pen is ignited, my soul is enlightened. I like who I am, but I'm biased. The palette is right, and my drip is a fountain. I'm not like these regular guys. All of that talk is misguided. She like the way I make the tape print, but the way I make the words play is grim. I'm the reaper reaching for the kill switch. The label cut the check like the bladesman. Something sparking where his brain is. The beat is somewhere where their prayers in. Geronimo, the way I make the bass jump when no parachute is tasted.
What is going on, everybody? We are back. Another episode of Throwing Hands. We're on episode 15, man. Can you believe it's been
Is it
15
15 or is
weeks
it
of
14?
this? I believe it's 15. I believe it's 15. I believe it's 15. Don't quote me.
15. It sounds right. It sounds right. I already was so far into this month, we've been killing it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, this year, man, it's been crazy. 15 weeks into 2023. We just had RUf 54. We've already had 3 RUf events already this year, man. It's been a good year so far. It's been hot. It's been hot.
Yeah.
And speaking of hot, we had
It
our
honestly
first
has
100.
been. And I'm excited.
Uh-oh, Josh, you're breaking up on me a little bit. You're breaking up on me a little bit. But yeah, speaking of hot, yeah, you are a little better right now. But yeah, speaking of hot, we had our first 100-degree day on Sunday. Oh my God. The heat is out. The sun is out. That means we're about to start cooking. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.
Dude, I'm not looking forward to that at all. It's going to be, I'm going to say miserable. That's really like the now.
Yeah. You're breaking up a little bit. But we're gonna talk a little bit about a previous guest, Marcus McGhee. Did you happen to catch that fight this weekend?
Dude, I did. And I was happy. I was so happy. Wasn't it just we were talking to Marcus on that?
Oh man, we lost him. So we'll wait for him to come back in. But to move along with it, Marcus McGhee, he was previously on. I believe we did him for episode 11. Josh is back. But yeah, Marcus McGhee this weekend got a call up to UFC on 3 days' notice, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of the fighters, a lot of the guys that we've interviewed in the past, one of the common things that they all say that has changed over the years, they would say, is you got to stay ready. You got to stay ready because you never know when you will get that opportunity. And this is a prime example. He got a call, 3-day notice, call up to UFC fight night. And he was fighting Journey Newsom. And if you know who Journey Newsom is not a slouch by far. Really, really solid individual. He's fought Morozov. He's fought Garcia. He's fought Duarte. He's fought Ramos. He fought Paul Acosta, or no, not Paul Acosta. We did this last.
I'd be a heavy
Randy,
mismatch, though, that's for sure.
yeah, Randy Costa. So I mean, Journey Newsom is not. I mean, by far, he's no slouch whatsoever. So to get that on 3-day notice, that right there is already, a
And you got a
field
fight bonus,
line.
too.
Yeah, 50K fight bonus, fight of the night, and it was just like a thought of mine. I'm like, man, going into this fight, I'm looking at him. I'm like, Journey doesn't want to hang with the Maniac on the team. He does not want to hang with him because if you never see Marcus fight, he's like a ninja, man. His stand up is just superb. So I'm like, this is gonna be his first submission. This is gonna be his first submission. So I went ahead on the DraftKings, dialed it up, plus 2,600. I said, let me run that. So got the W, got the submission victory. Marcus McGhee went out there and did his thing at UFC Fight Night, man, and really showed out. Really, really, really showed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he makes a lot of local Arizona people proud, because it gives a lot of hope to a lot of people around here. It's like, anybody can get that call. You just got to keep working, keep hustling on it.
Yeah, yeah, and as they always say, just keep perfecting your craft. Keep adding new things to your arsenal, and be ready to pull those new things out when you get those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But hey, speaking of opportunities, we got another guy here. He's in the background right now, and he's got so much potential. And let me tell you something. This guy is a savage bull ready to get paid in full. He's equipped with an arsenal so refined he'll break your jaw in the blink of an eye. And speaking of eyes, watch out for his kicks, because they be nastier than Cobra Kai. Have him come in hot like Mr. Miyagi, throwing hands and dropping bodies. Have you go skirt skirt on a Kawasaki, screaming, "My God, he rocked me!" Now, I don't say this lightly, only politely, as you'll most likely get cracked teeth from a flying knee. But let's not spoil the fun of what's yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to stay tuned for this superstar, as he's the one and only Loai, the Savage Bull Abushaar. What's going on, man?
What's going on? Uh-oh, I think we lost your sound. Did we lose the sound?
Oh,
Uh-oh,
can you
we
hear us?
can't hear you. Oh, you might have to leave out and come back in for us.
Yeah, try it. Let me see if I can do the chat real quick.
I just didn't want to. Yeah, leave out and then come back in. Josh, you jinxed us. You, just
I
ladies and
jinxed
gentlemen.
us?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, for those who watch our show, it's been a good solid 3 episodes since we had technical difficulties, right? Josh gets on, Luai gets on, and we're in the back talking, and Josh says, "Yeah, we typically have technical difficulties," and here we go.
I did jinx it, bro.
There we
Got
go.
it? Okay. Could you hear us?
There we go.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought I was tripping. I thought it was just like, since you put me backstage, it just won't let me hear you guys. Like, in case you want to talk shit while I was in the backstage. So I thought that was
Don't
just
worry, we
how it
talked
was.
lots
And
of
then
shit.
you guys, and I didn't even realize I was on the show. And then I looked up and said live, and I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, no, we had just brought you on right now. So look, we had a proper introduction, so we're gonna pretend like none of this has happened yet. So give us a second, and Josh is gonna ring off the intro for you again. Okay.
My bad, fellas.
All right.
Oh
All
no,
right.
I jinxed us. We had like 4 or 5 episodes in a row where we had technical difficulties just like this, and we had to redo it. So I jinxed us. But here, I'll go and tell you my intro, because I think you'll like it. Let me tell you something. This guy is a savage bull ready to get paid in full. He's equipped with an arsenal so refined he'll break your jaw in the blink of an eye. And speaking of eyes, watch out for his kicks, because they be nastier than Cobra Kai. Have him come in hot like Mr. Miyagi, throwing hands and dropping bodies. Have you go skirt skirt on a Kawasaki, screaming, "My God, he rocks me!" Now, I don't say this lightly, only politely, as you'll most likely get cracked teeth from a flying knee. But let's not spoil the fun of what's to come. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to stay tuned for this superstar, as he's the one and only Loai, the Savage Bull Abushaar. There, how you like that?
Okay. I like that. I like that. I didn't realize you were getting ready for 8 Mile 2. That's nice.
Yeah, don't you know my nickname is Not So Some Baby?
And I hope you do get the role. We just need. I didn't realize you was gonna go acapella on that shit, but that's good. I like that. You wrote that all by yourself?
Yeah, it's the new tradition now for this year's season. So I just do a little intro. Although it's funny because it started out as just like shits and giggles spoken word, but now it just has the vibe of like a rap intro. So I've just been going with it.
Hell yeah, dog. I like that. That's some talent right there. Appreciate it.
It's been 15 consecutive
Appreciate it.
intros, man.
I try.
He's on his streak. He's on his streak.
Hey, I like that. I like that, man. You know, that's
How you
good.
doing today?
Yeah, I gotta hype up, man.
I like it.
Yeah, but how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm good, man. I'm great. Life's been good. Can't complain, man. Can't really complain. How about you guys? You guys all right?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely can't complain. Yeah, just living life, man. I'm still hyped. I'm still hyped off of our pre-fight interview, man. It was we were getting into a lot of good stuff over there. So
Yeah, those are actually pretty hard because especially the fact that we have to do them right as we're cutting weight. So it makes me I don't feel as energetic when I'm having those discussions, and I kind of feel like a douchebag when I'm talking to you guys because I'm just like the only thing that's really going through my mind is weighing in and then having and having that meal. So it's like I'm just like, man, we need to get this ball rolling.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that
I mean,
drop
hey, it's the name
in.
of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it, definitely. Now that drop in was nice. I'm glad that you dropped in on us at 54. That was good.
Oh,
Good
you're talking
stuff.
about? Oh, yeah. That was nice. I
Mhm.
like that a lot.
Mhm.
That felt real. That felt real realistic a lot. Like everything just
Mhm.
came out, no prep or anything like that. You got to see it's like a couple of homies just hanging out and talking to each other.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That's the vibe we
exactly.
try to
That's
get.
what I love too about. Yep, exactly. That's what I love too about the pre-fight shows, just because, like, it's only my second time doing that one, and we're just kind of like figuring out as we go. So that drop-in you did was absolute gold, because just love the authenticity of the conversation, especially too the things we talked about, dude. I just loved every second of it.
No, it was a good conversation. I appreciate that guy from you guys also. Like you guys asked me some pretty good questions, and you were being very genuine with your question asking. Like you actually wanted to know and understand where I was coming from and where my perspective was in everything that I was saying and doing. So good on you guys for just being good interviewers.
Hey, we appreciate that, man. We
Mhm.
appreciate that.
So how
And for the ones that didn't get a chance or anything, to kind of see that or miss that and don't know about the Savage Bull, let's run a little bit back into kind of how this came about for you. What got you into fighting? What was your first love? Um, what set you on your
So in second grade, I started doing Taekwondo, and my instructor actually worked at the Air Force Base over in Tucson, so Davis Monthan Air Force Base. And so over time, I ended up training over there actually. So I used to train on the
Oh, nice.
base in Taekwondo and everything like that. Yeah. So I did that first, but I always wanted to be a basketball player at first. I guess it just didn't work out. I sucked at it because I tried out. I was good. I don't know what happened. I was good all the way up until 8th grade, and then when I switched over to high school, I tried joining the high school team freshman year, and I got cut. It just didn't work out. The reality is, actually, the funny thing is, man, is I actually ended up fighting like a couple kids on the basketball team. And
path?
when I switched over to high school, I was switching over from Central Tucson all the way to North Tucson.
Uh,
So I was in a whole nother district as well. So I didn't know any of the kids. I wasn't friends with
Oh,
anybody. I was like literally the new kid at the school. I didn't have any homies, no allies or anything like that. And so when I switched over, none of the kids really liked me. None of the basketball kids did at the time. So I just got in a fight with all of them for some reason. I don't know how. And then, I got cut from the basketball team, and I didn't know really what to do. I knew I wanted to play a sport, but I didn't know what to do. I wasn't really into soccer at the time. I wanted to play football, but I always felt like I was too small. Like I didn't, when I graduated high school, I was only 130 pounds. So like I was very tiny throughout all of high school, from freshman year all the way to senior year. And then junior year came around. I didn't really do anything sophomore year. Got cut freshman year. And then junior year came around, and I said, the hell with it. I'm gonna just join the wrestling team. Let's see what happens. I joined the wrestling team my junior year. Had a great two seasons, for just being a first timer wrestler. I picked it up real quick. It just kind of felt natural with me. My senior year, after my junior year, because I was on varsity my junior year. After my junior year, I just continued training. So I wrestled all the way through the summer and the postseason and everything. I just continued wrestling. I didn't stop wrestling. I did freestyle, I did Greco, Roman, and I just kept wrestling. And then when I came back senior year, I was the second best wrestler on my team. And
Hey.
that's only with 1 year of experience, and I came back my second year. I was able to make it to state that year. Unfortunately, I didn't place at state, but I was placing in every single high school tournament up until state. So all the 4 tournaments that we did, and then even at sectionals, to make it to state, I placed and everything like that. But unfortunately, when I got to the state stage, it was the first time I felt like where the pressure got to me, because I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this is the last tournament. This is my one and done. Either I do something great or I don't. And unfortunately, I just wasn't mentally prepared for that. And I went 2-0. And the good thing is, though, me going 2-0 left a really bad taste in my mouth, competitively. I didn't like that. I was like, it's my senior year. I got knocked out, and all I wanted to do was place in state so that my name could be on the wall on the wrestling room. But and it always upset me because I felt like if I started my freshman year, my name would have easily been on that wall. Like, it would have put my name on that wall, Loai Abushaar, whatever, what do you call it, place I got, because it was top 6. So if I even got 6th place, my name would have been on that wall. And then my weight class, and that's all I wanted. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen for me. So it left a really bad taste in my mouth, and I wanted to continue competing. So when I went to college, I went to University of Arizona for my undergrad, and I was just kind of doing random martial arts at that point. I was just doing jiu-jitsu, I was doing kickboxing, I was doing Muay Thai, just at random places, just continue doing martial arts. Not really with the mindset that I'm going to compete, just because I really enjoyed doing martial arts. It was already something that I did for so long. And then around 2017 came around, and I was like, man, why don't I just put all of this together and just become an MMA fighter? And I became an MMA fighter under Coach Tyson Lord and Coach Rich Moreno, and also Phil Valencia. And I did my first amateur with RUf in 2017, and then I just continued fighting since then, man. So it's been about 6 years, but there's about a 2 to 3 year gap where I didn't fight because of COVID. So from like early 2019 all the way to 2022. So about 3 years. About 3 years I didn't fight. So in reality, I've only been competing MMA for 3 years.
Wow.
And so it was it that return because of COVID? That was when you finally made your pro debut, right?
Kind of. So I fought in New York, my last amateur. I fought for Flex Fight Series in May 22nd, May 23rd, or something like that of 2022. That was my last amateur fight against the champion. Went over there, took his belt, came back home, and I was like, all right, I guess it's time to do pro. Because I wanted to do one more practice run just to see how I was, because I didn't fight for 3 years. My last fight was in 2019. I didn't fight for 3 years, and then boom, I was like, all right, let me do at least one amateur run before I go pro. So I did one more amateur just to see where I was, and then after that, that's when I decided to go pro.
So do you think that layoff, because I know you were training during the layoff of everything, and not having, pretty much, I don't know, the interruptions, you don't really, there wasn't nothing else to do. So you were dedicated to training at that point. Do you think that
So
it had? Go ahead.
my apologies, but so I don't know why I just assumed what you were asking me, but I guess what. So yeah, that layoff was good for me in the sense of like, yeah, I was just training, but mentally, man, that was very difficult for me.
Rough.
Because you're talking about, so 2020 happened. So in 2019, after that amateur fight, at the end of 2019, I told myself, okay, I need to leave Tucson. I need to go to Scottsdale and start training at Fight Ready so that I can become a professional. So early 2020, about like February-ish of 2020, I moved to Scottsdale. I quit my job in Tucson. I packed everything in my car and I moved to Scottsdale with no real direction, except the destination was I was gonna fight. I was gonna train at Fight Ready. That's all I had. That's all I had in my mind was I was gonna train at Fight Ready. So when I left everything, I didn't even have a savings, no money. Like I had nothing to my name. I just left, and I was staying at my boy's house at the time, because he lived up here in Scottsdale because he goes to medical school here. So I was just crashing at his place until I found my feet. And I was training there when I got there. But when I got there, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to get a job when I'm up here, and then I'm going to train full time at Fight Ready. But the world decided to go through a pandemic as soon as that happened, and it was probably the worst timing for me to move to Scottsdale. So I moved up here, and literally I had nothing going for me. I didn't have a job. I could barely train because of all these COVID laws and rules of shutting the gym down, opening it back up, shutting it down, opening it back up.
Mhm.
And I didn't even join the pro team right away. They weren't going to just let me join the pro team because I was still an amateur at the time. And then the worst part was, even though I was training on the amateur team over at Fight Ready when they had one, um, no promotion was holding any amateur fights either for like a good 2 years. So
Right.
from like 2020 all the way to 2021, I want to say there wasn't a single promotion that was allowing amateur fighting because one, they couldn't make any money off of it, so they weren't
Mhm.
gonna hold any fights for amateurs at all. So I'm just sitting there trying to keep my body in shape, but I'm not able to train the way that I want to train because you got all these laws and regulations of shutting down the gyms. And and also I'm also, my own mentality is kind of messing with me because at August 2020 I just got my master's degree as well. So it was kind of demoralizing knowing that I have a master's degree and I couldn't get a job. Like I couldn't get
Mhm.
a salary job at all because nobody was hiring. Because my
Period.
master's is in healthcare management, and no hospitals were hiring administrators at all or
Oh
like
man.
anything of the managing side because they didn't need administrators or managers. They needed medical attention, right? They needed doctors, nurses, radiologists, and everything like that. So I couldn't get a job with my own master's, so I ended up having to work at Red Robin's for a good like 6 or 7 months, which was super depressing. Like it was extremely depressing because I was like, dude, I have my like I'm not the type of person who's like, you know, who like I have confidence, but I'm not narcissistic. But
Mm-hmm.
there's almost it's really upsetting, and it really messes with your mentality when you know what you've studied and you know what you're capable of, and you're in a position that is just so beneath you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm sitting there giving food to people. Like that was my job, was to just be a server. Like I wasn't reading numbers. I wasn't the manager. I wasn't the accountant or anything like that. I was just serving people their meals during COVID. And that really messed with me mentally. Like that was like, I was like, wow, I am a big loser. Like that's how I felt, right? Like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was a big loser. And I'm not saying anybody who's a server is a loser. That's not what I'm getting at all. What I'm just saying is like for me and my
Where you
own
were headed with your goals and what you were
exactly.
trying to achieve versus where you were at that moment was not what you were visualizing.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like it was hard. it was hard for me to see that I was on the right path at the time, because it just felt like I was so far away from it. You know, like I felt like I was on another course in my life at the time. Like I just didn't realize it. But now I've realized that everything I've done since then was what led me to where I am now. And I'm grateful for all of it. Cause like when I moved after the Red Robin's job, like I bounced from occupation to occupation like about 3 or 4 times since then. So like after being a server, I started doing plumbing. I was helping this contracting plumbing company. I was a plumber, and then after that, I was a pool technician for this pool company. And then after that, I started working at Lululemon, and then I got promoted to inventory manager over at Lululemon, and then boom, finally I landed this job that actually deals with my expertise, which I'm a financial analyst now for the
Nice.
government. So you know, thankfully, I'm happy where I am now. But you know, it was like it was like a lot of labor jobs until I finally landed this nice, you know, white collar job. So, and then during all of that, you know, I'm fitting everything around my training schedule, because that's the only thing that really matters, right? Like I'm just doing all these jobs so I can pay for everything, right? So I can pay for my rent, so I can pay for my food, so I can pay for my livelihood, just for the gas in my car. There was even a moment just this last year, actually, I didn't have a car for about 7 months
Oh,
from
wow.
so from my amateur fight, right before my amateur fight in New York, which was in May, all the way to my professional fight in October, my pro debut, I was biking everywhere. So I was biking to the gym, I was biking to work. I was going to the gym at least 2-3 times a day still at the time. Like I was still working out 2-3 times. I was biking back and forth everywhere I had to go. And I was doing that for about 6 or 7 months until I built enough money to actually purchase a car. So it was an enjoyable journey. Not the most easiest journey, I would say, but definitely a learning experience. And if my kids are ever ungrateful, I'm gonna be telling them this exact same story, but definitely exaggerating it a little bit. I'm gonna be
Oh
telling
yeah.
them I used to have to bike the highest mountains, man. You don't understand. I was going 20 miles just straight uphill just to get to the gym.
Yeah.
You gotta
But yeah,
make
no,
it a
it's
Rocky Life story.
actually one thing that I was actually really thinking about, and just you telling all that really made me think about it, because I was thinking, like, is mixed martial arts, is it not the very nature of stoicism itself, of having to make these unimaginable sacrifices to pursue this career, to pursue these ambitions, and to take this high reward? I just feel like it's just a common duality, because like you yourself, Luai, you're having to go from job to job. It's like, have that pride, like you put all this work in to get your master's degree, and then you're working at Red Robin's, and it's like, no disrespect on the other people there, but if you feel that yourself, you are capable of achieving greater things, then you have to be able to take that higher risk, and you have to take that sacrifice, go through the blood, sweat, and tears to achieve that greatness and to take you where you are now.
No, 100%. I totally agree with you, and that's what kind of just always kept me going. Through even all the difficult mental health problems, or even the difficult physical problems. That's always what kept me going. Is I knew, even if I ended up losing my mind doing this stuff, I know, just like I know it at this point, that it's going to be worth it. Like I know, like this isn't this in my mind at this very moment. This isn't like some sort of like dream. This isn't some sort of like uh wish. This
That's
is
it.
I'm at the moment in my life where it's going to happen, almost
Hmm.
like prophecy. Like this is what's meant to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what I'm doing so that it can happen. and I will make it happen. You know, it's not just going to be something that just falls into my lap or I'm just holding my hand out and it just occurs. No, this is something that I'm creating, and I'm going to create it. Like, I'm innovating this life, and I'm the innovator.
Definitely speaking to existence too. You know, I want to talk. I want to ask you a little bit about how you feel that the scene, the MMA scene, especially over the last like 2.5, 3 years here in Arizona, but over like the last 5 years or so, how much you think it's grown, the direction it's going in, and how much that plays a part in, especially in your division, man. Your division's very active on the pro level here in Arizona. There's a lot of great guys who are very active on the pro scene here in Arizona, and I think that catapults guys like yourself um, up the rankings. Um, with the extraordinary finishes that you've had and the style that you displayed in the octagon. So, what is your take on where the state of Arizona MMA is at, where it's going, and where you are fitting into that right now, currently as well?
Yeah. I would say honestly, Arizona is one of the top states for mixed martial arts, or just martial arts in general. Like, even in wrestling and jujitsu and karate, any martial arts. Honestly, I genuinely believe Arizona is one of the top states in the nation.
I
So I
definitely
feel like
agree.
I'm very grateful for being born in one of the best states for that scene, right? The competition here is immense, right? Even down in Tucson, it's, for just straight boxing, since we're so close to Mexico, right? We're borders of Mexico, and Tucson just being about 2 hours away from Mexico, we have one of the best boxings in the valley, maybe even in the Southwest, just because of our proximity to Mexico. Um, and then also wrestling. We have one of the best wrestling teams in Arizona, which is Sunnyside. That has been so dominant and has produced the most dominant wrestlers in the entire nation. For instance, Roman Bravo Young, who's Penn State, champion, 2-time, 3-time Penn State champion right now for NCAA's, and has a huge, massive following. He was from Sunnyside, Tucson, Arizona. I grew up watching that kid. Even though I'm older than him, I still I still watched him wrestle because he was just that popular of a wrestler. Like, he was just that wonderful. Like, he was a sensation. Um, so yeah, honestly, in terms of mixed martial arts, I think Arizona is one of the best. And if you just come to Phoenix, Arizona, just what it encompasses, you have the lab out here, you have Fight Ready out here, you have AZ Combat Sports, you have so many gyms out here in Arizona, and just Phoenix in general, which are just dominating gyms, that have massive names and have produced these massive names just by home growing them, right? Like, think about how many guys in the lab are homegrown and
Right,
are in the UFC, right?
right.
Think about how many guys who are at Fight Ready right now, who are fighting in all these different promotions, Bellator, UFC, PFL. And the beauty about Fight Ready is we get so many Brazilians to come to our gym. So it's like we have a very diverse group of individuals who come through Fight Ready, and a diverse group of coaches who also come through Fight Ready. So it's like I'm getting the cream of the crop, but I also have to be smart with it, right? Like, I have to actually put myself out there, and
Right.
and at the end of the day, closed mouths don't get fed, right? Like, you really have to put yourself out there. It's not just gonna come to you. It's not.
Yeah.
It's when people kind of just sit down and just wait for things to happen. It doesn't work like that. Like, it really doesn't. Like, you have to put yourself out there. You have to get your ass whooped every single day in order to become that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like what
definitely.
I say all the time, achievement motivation. There's certain people that exist in this world that just have it in them that they have to take that high risk for that high reward, and that they just can't sit right there. They have to keep pushing up like that, and you have to put yourself forward to be able to make that happen.
I mean, that's the only way you get to become a Mount Rushmore. Otherwise you're the sixth man. You're the rotation player. You're the
Mm-hmm.
DH. You know what I mean? You're the pinch hitter. So if you want to be that main guy, you want that Rocky, you want that Apollo Creed, you want those Mount Rushmore type stories. You have to. There's going to be a lot of diversity you're going to face, and there's going to be a lot of times there, like you were referring to earlier, where there's mentally, man, honestly, the greats are probably the hardest on themselves. They probably go
Mm-hmm.
through, and it's probably it's crazy for a lot of people to think of it that way, but the greater you are, the harder you are on yourself. The more tougher the moments are, the more frequent you see those big spotlight moments, and you have those big, you know, anxiety filled pressure, popping moments.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally is where it's really, really at, and especially in this field.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because that was probably the biggest obstacle I had to go through when I first joined Fight Ready, the pro team. When I joined the pro team, there was I did a tryout for the first week. Santino DeFranco, Coach Santino, he let me try it out, and he told me, "All right, let me see what you got for a week." And after the week, I did pretty well. I went out there, I went hard, even though I lost probably majority of the time. I still fought the guys that were there, even though they were trying their best to kick my ass. But mentally speaking, even though I made the team, there was a part of me that kind of felt like an imposter.
Mm,
Like I
mm,
didn't belong. And even though I would go to practice every single day, it took a lot of me to actually get to practice. Like I would wake up every single morning. I remember it took me so long to finally get over this. But for about like a year and a half, or maybe 2 years, I woke up about every single morning before pro practice and I would vomit. Like like that scene in 8 Mile where Eminem is about to rap and
Yeah.
he literally runs to the bathroom to go vomit. Like that's what I was doing every single morning before I would head over to practice. And I had a lot of it was like I didn't know if it was anxiety. I didn't really know if it was depression. I didn't really go see any like therapist for any of it or like talk to anybody about it. But for some reason, I just was in my own head for a good like year and a half. And even though I went to practice, even though I knew I was going to get my ass whooped in practice every single day, even though I knew some of the guys weren't going to train with me every single day, even though I knew the coaches weren't going to give me, the same attention that they were giving the other fighters every single day, I still went every single day. And, you know, I, I, I I'm not upset about any of it, Like
Mm-hmm.
in reality, that's just what had to happen. Like I had to go through that so I can be where I am now. Like I mean, it was bad. Like every single morning I was throwing up before practice. It's just what I had to
Damn.
do. I had to throw up it wasn't even like I ate anything or anything like that. I'd throw up yellow bile every single morning and then I'd head over to practice and then I would do my 1 hour, 2 hour training and I'd get through it and then just restart the day every single time. And this was about, and I wasn't even getting ready for a fight. I was just training to train, right? So like that even made it even a little bit harder because I was just, the fight was,
you
being able to make it through practice and not feel
right.
like a total sack of shit, essentially, like
So
that was,
when did it click for you? What was it that like just gave you that reassurance that this was you, this was where you were supposed to be, and kind of let you relax?
um, it was, it was about March, I want to say March of 2021. That's when it finally clicked. My good friend, who's also one of the fighters, Henry Corrales, I think he kind of over time realized like the struggle that I was going through. And I remember him and I just kind of went on a hike, and we just talked about it. Kind of just talked about everything. He took me out of the gym zone and everything like that, and we all just kind of we kind of just talked about all of it. And through that discussion and everything like that, it kind of just everything finally just for me. Like he was practically telling me like I am where I'm meant to be, and I'm meant to be here. Like I need to get rid of the bitch attitude, right? Like I need to stop acting like I'm an imposter, the imposter syndrome. I need to stop pretending that I'm not giving these guys a run for their money, or I'm not getting better, or I'm not training as hard. And I legit was like, every single day I was like, fuck, man, should I quit? But I never did. Like I was going to the gym and it sucked.
Mhm.
It freaking sucked, man. It sucked so much. And every single day, because again, it wasn't just like I wasn't just going to it wasn't just the gym that was the issue. It was like on top of that, I didn't have a good job. On top of that, I wasn't making any money, right? So like everything around me just felt like total shit. Like nothing was going the way that I needed it to go. And after that discussion with him, it just like a big weight off my shoulders just finally came off. And I said, you know what, he's right. Like this is what I need to do. And then from then on, I kept on training, and I was trying to fight at the end of 2021. Unfortunately, I dislocated my elbow. So I was out for about 6 months. It's funny because I signed the contract with Jason over at RUf. That same day I signed a contract with him, I dislocated my elbow an hour later. So I kind of just took that as a sign from the universe. You're just not yet, right? Like just wait, because it was honestly a lucky dislocation. The elbow was completely gone. My arm was the other direction, but nothing tore. None of my muscles tore. None of my tendons tore. It was just straight bone dislocation. I was out for about 6 months just because I had this the bone was totally bruised, but no breaks. There weren't any tears, no breaks or anything like that. It was just bone just popping out. But so I got lucky, but that's why I kind of take that as a sign from the universe and God of just saying, hey, you need to, like, your time will come, just be patient. Like that's the biggest thing I've taken is just be patient, right? Like that's how I got where I am right now. Just being patient and just continue to strive forward. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, there's going to be difficulties. There's going to be obstacles and everything like that. And it's going to be hard mentally. It's going to be hard physically, but just be patient, man. Sabr. Like it's a word in Arabic, sabr. It just means patience. And it's true, man. Like as long as I'm patient with my career and I'm patient with my athleticism, it's going to happen. And I think the biggest thing with me is I always knew I was a late bloomer, like even in terms of like puberty. Like I didn't hit 6 foot until about my junior year of high school. And then I didn't hit 6'3" until college.
Well,
So
I'm still working on trying to hit 6 foot. So
you're gonna get there.
I don't know how much late blooming I have to do. But
just keep drinking your milk and
I got cheated. I'm a half inch over 6 foot.
But yeah,
God cheated me though. I'm a half inch shy of 6 foot.
Hey, you just on your Tinder profile, you just put 6 foot, yeah?
Right. Or get those sodas.
Exactly. Yeah, but no, it makes me think because it's getting to grow more in this industry, speaking to you more of the fighters. I've kind of almost have like this own theory of mine because I hear that same common thing where you have that anxiety, there's that pressure, or that's that doubt or whatever. And look through history as well. All the greatest fighters in history are just people in general, and it seems like all the greatest people in history are the ones that have to go through the greatest struggles and the greatest trials in order to prove what their worth is. And it's almost like God is testing each of these people to see how much fire you could take before you yourself are the one that's ready to walk into and conquer it?
Well, I mean, with that, I my take on that part is, it's just like anything. Whether you're like a leader in the army or the manager at a job or anything, you want to train your soldier to be the best soldier, the best version of himself that he can be.
Hmm.
And and I agree. Without going biblical in this and everything, but whomever you believe in, you have to understand that God will do whatever he can to show you the things that you need to learn, the path that you need to take to build those attributes in you, those characteristics, so you can know what to do in those situations. And I think that a lot of
Hmm.
people, I think now, especially, we lose the sight on, um, we're supposed to teach. As a human being, we are supposed to teach. So we're supposed to learn first, obviously, so you have something to teach. But we're supposed to gather this information. We're supposed to go through all these things, like me and you, what you go through behind your closed doors, what you go through behind yours closed doors. At the end of the day, there's someone out there that needs some assistance that's going through those things, and that's what it's at the end of the day it's about. Whether you're going through MMA career, or any other fathom or any other genre, whatever it is that you're going through, or your career path you take. At the end of the day, you're going to be at the top at some point. You're going to have that experience, and you're going to look back and have somebody else that's younger than you that needs that guidance. So it's all a path. It's all a learning experience. It's all added to your journal of life.
No, I'm 100% agree with that. I do, honestly. Um, but that's kind of like that's exactly where my mindset is right now too. Like even though I went through all that and I had to walk through the fire, I walked through it alone, right? Like I didn't really in reality I didn't really have anybody who outwardly or like unconditionally supported me for my MMA career. Like this was just me.
Hmm.
It really was just me. Like like I honestly like I'm not even trying to be like an independent type of person, just like, oh, it's always been me and selfish and everything. Like I legit can't think of one person who unconditionally supported me through my MMA career. Like it just wasn't a thing. Like and I understand like it's really hard and I don't blame anybody also. Like I'm not upset with
Mhm.
anybody or hold any grudge or anything like that. I
Yeah.
understand it's really hard to to believe in somebody or to understand somebody who's trying to do something that's really unorthodox, right? Like being an MMA fighter is pretty unorthodox. It's an unorthodox lifestyle,
Hmm.
and being coming from you know an immigrant family that's also very unorthodox, right? Like being an MMA fighter is not a big thing in the Arab world. It's just it's growing, but that's just not the lifestyle you choose, right? Your family doesn't come from the Middle East to America to be like, all right, I want my son to become an MMA fighter. Like that's just not how it works around here, right? It's
Right.
lawyer, doctor, or engineer type thing, right?
Yeah.
Or get your
Unless
master's.
you were already in Russia fighting bears. I mean.
No, exactly. Unless you're in Russia fighting bears, unless your father is a sambo champion. But
Right.
so no one really like I didn't start getting the support that I have now until about actually this third fight. Like people only started truly believing in me and saying like how proud they are of me until this third fight, which I don't have a problem with. I really don't. Like I understand. Like I'm not sitting here
Mhm.
waiting for people to be proud of me or waiting for some sense of validation from individuals. So it's been a very
Hmm.
long, lonely journey, right? Like it even to this day, it's still kind of I'm still doing this by myself. Like I don't
Mhm.
really ask for people. I have wonderful coaches. I have wonderful teammates, right? They're there for me when I need them. Especially Coach Frankie, Coach Chad EK, they're really out there looking out for me, like consistently looking out for me. I could ask those guys for anything and they'd help me out. And so it's good, but I had to go and get that, right? Like I wasn't come from a family or from I didn't have like connections. Like I had to go do that. Like my past coaches in Tucson didn't connect me to these coaches, right?
Right.
It was me who had to go do this. I had to put myself in that position. I had to step out of my bounds and my norms in order to be in the position that I'm in. And that really goes for all of it, like even financially speaking, as much as like I love my mom and she tried helping me as much as she can, but in her mindset, again, she's still immigrant. She cared more about the education than she cared about what my dream was, right? What my wish was. Because, and I don't blame her like at all. Like I
Right.
understand,
You
genuinely
are
do.
you're a product of your conditions, man,
E-
and that's what she knows is the way out. Like, hey,
Exactly.
get your education, and this is the result. These is proven time and time again.
Exactly. Exactly. 100%. Which is why I put no, like, I don't have any hardship or put any blame on it because I'm like,
Right.
Mama, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, you don't want me to go through that same hardship that you had to go through in order to be in the
Right.
situation that you're in. Like, my mom isn't in the most beautiful situation, right? Like, she could be in a lot better situation. And even, coming from the Middle East, she wasn't in the best situation, just being a Muslim woman, like, just that as a factor is like there's not a lot of privilege going on in that aspect. So she didn't get to live a full life, right? She just lived the life of cultural norms.
Right.
So I always, which is why like when I go out and I do these fights and I'm fighting, it's so that I can provide myself with this extraordinary lifestyle and to test my limits. And at the same time, when I go and I kiss my mom and I hug her and everything like that, it's because I'm trying to provide her the life that, in all honesty, I feel like she was stolen. Like my mom didn't get to go do her dreams. Like my mom didn't get to go live the life that she wanted, right? Like she was just following cultural norms, which isn't anything wrong. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But like my mom had her first child at what, like 18? When she had me, I'm her third child, dog. She was 25. I'm 26, and I don't even think I can handle having a child at this point in my, So it's like
Yeah.
at 25, she's had her third child, and that's all her life is just raising children.
Right.
So like when I take her out to these fights and she comes to the fight, she's having the time of her life because she's finally able to experience just a little bit more. So
Right.
like if I go and fight in Vegas, if I go and fight in New York, if I go fight across the world, I'm thinking I'm gonna try my best to bring my mom with me just so she can see what's out there, just so she can experience a life that's more than just sitting at home taking care of kids all day. And it's
Right.
like it's why I take these massive risks. Like, yeah, I put the burden of being Palestinian on my back, right? Like I can easily disregard all of that. I can disregard everything. I could just be I'm American, I'm just an MMA fighter. That's it. That's my entire personality. Or, you know, I can up the stakes, take a higher risk, put myself in a position where not everyone is with me. People are against me. I'm gonna get a lot of hate, and see if I can prevail. And see once I prevail, if I still have that sense of selflessness where I spread it across everybody else. Where I spread it amongst Palestinian people, where I spread it to my family, where I spread it to my friends. It's that's what excites me. That's what keeps me going is like, yeah, I'm going to conquer this. And when I do conquer it, I'm going to do it so well that I can make other people's lives easier than it was for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's like what I
Oh,
said before. If you feel you have the capacity to make great changes in this world, then it's your obligation to be great. Take that high risk, be ambitious, be proud, be courageous, be fearless, and be endeavorous, and go to your heart's content to be the best version and to fight for something bigger than yourself.
definitely. Definitely. Um, I do want to pivot, but before I do, What is next for you? Just looking at the board, I kind of mentioned it a little bit. This division, I don't know if the fans out here, if people out here have looked into what this division really looks like, but it is packed. It is packed. We just saw Bobby the Wolfman at 54. He's the number one ranked light heavyweight in Arizona. Then you have Jorge Patino, Kevin Barberina, and Jimmy Scully. I think Jimmy Scully was in RUf recently. Not. Let me see. No, the last fight. Yeah, he was at RUf 40. Was his last one. That was back in 2021, and then he just lost. I want to say this was a grappling match though, in March. So that rounds out your top four, and then here you are, right outside the top five. You're sitting at six. Um, a very familiar face right underneath you, Austin Worms. Uh, and then at eight, we just seen Daniel Soto with the Wolfman. So,
He's number
um, yeah, they have him at number eight. It's crazy.
for Arizona or for like Southwest.
Arizona.
He's number 8, really? Who's that?
Yeah.
Hey, who's that 5?
Raymond Pena.
Okay, he's a Tucson guy as well. I'm pretty sure he wrestled for Sunnyside.
So I can't
Oh,
I can't
really?
leave out my two honorable mentions though, because I don't even know how Daniel. No disrespect to Daniel Soto whatsoever. I don't know how Daniel Soto is ahead of Princeton Jackson. I don't know how Daniel Soto is ahead of Ali Muhammad. So I will put those two as honorable mentions in there. Um, but again, this division, man, it's fucking packed.
Yeah,
What's next for you? Because all these guys here that I just named are brinks of Bellator, or brinks of UFC, or brinks of on making that big leap, including yourself. And especially in these top four, if you, no disrespect again to anybody, if you Chris Fluke one of these top fours, it's turning into
so,
Kanye and flashing lights.
yeah, I'm putting the whole lightweight on notice. The craziest thing is, man, is the lightweight is just a stacked weight class across everything. Like if you looked at the lightweights for UFC, like that is an insane ranking system. Like those top 15 lightweights are all killers. But that's what I want to be. Like that's what I'm
Mhm.
going for. Like I'm going to be one of those killers. Like you like for instance, like the person who's most close to me would be Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner is what, top 10 right now, I think? He's at least top 10. But he's 6'3", 155. 6'3", 165. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm looking at. Like I'm not sitting here looking at Arizona lightweights. I don't give two shits about any of those guys.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here comparing myself to any of those top, what is it, like 25 guys in Arizona for lightweights. Could care less about any of those guys. I'd fight any of those guys. Do not it doesn't it's not where my end goal is. It's not it's not even like a mountain I'm trying to accomplish. Like that wouldn't mean anything to me. What means something to me is breaking through that top 15 of the UFC. That's what I'm looking at. So my manager is working hard, and he's putting me in the position to just fight anybody who wants to fight me. They sign a name, they sign the contract, boom, it's me versus him. We're kind of projecting right now for Tough Enough in July 7th, which is going to be International UFC Fight Week in Vegas as well. That's where the venue is being held, and that's what we're trying to go for. To make my name just one extra step bigger, right? Like I'm fighting in Vegas during International Fight Week. All the big names is going to be there, and that's what I want. I don't need these small local shows no more, man. I need my name to go out there. I need my name to get bigger. And again, you can put me against any of these guys, and I'm gonna start smoking these fools very soon, man. Like it's no joke. You put me in the ring, and I'm just a different person in there. Like I'm all nice and kind out here, and I enjoy being very friendly with everybody. But as soon as that gate is closed, man, it's no time to play. I'm sitting there. I'm watching every single one of your movements. I'm calculated, and it's time for me to see if I can shut you down as quickly as possible. Like for instance, that last fight against James Trinidad, I I told you guys. I remember I told you guys that I was gonna try getting a first round knockout. Right? That's what I stated. And
Yeah, on that
and
pre-fight interview.
yeah, in the pre-fight interview, I stated I was gonna get a first round knockout because that's what I wanted. I wanted another first round, and I had when I hit him in the stomach, right? When I hit him with that knee in the stomach, and you could just see his entire disposition change. His entire facial structure he was collapsing. And the two things that went through my mind was, should I kick him in the stomach one more time and drop him, or should I kick him in the head? And I decided to go with the stomach. I wish at the time I went for the head because it would have been a clean knockout. But when I went for the stomach, he pretty much, just completely wrapped himself down in order to grab my leg. And I was like, all right, well, I guess the choke is there for free, right? And it's just like I'm able to just see these things. Like as I'm fighting now, it's not like I'm just there and I'm reacting, or I'm just this is just natural. Like there is some natural instincts, but like my mind is calculating everything now. Like every
Got the
single
options laid out. Like if he
like
does
yeah,
this, I'm gonna do this.
even since my first pro fight, like every single strike that I have thrown, every single every single movement that I have taken has been a conscious thought. Like I'm sitting there telling myself, and I'm calculating everything before few seconds before it occurs. My second fight against Eric Tier, when I fought in Montana, when I took him down, and when I was passing through side control into mount, I told myself, should I choke him out, or should I just start throwing hella elbows? And I decided to go with the latter, like with the later. Like I just started throwing hella elbows. Like I'm sitting here when I was going against Chris Fluke, same thing. I was sitting there and calculating every single strike that I was going to throw until I knocked him out. As soon as I hit him with that uppercut and he was going down, that's when just natural instinct took place. And it was just, all right, pound, 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 pound. But all up until that point, all up until the finish actually occurs, my mind is telling me exactly what I need to do, how to do it, and when to do it. Like it's almost like I'm seeing every single strike, and I'm striking with complete control. It's not like if you see I see a lot of other fighters, and it seems like a lot of them just fight and just throw to the fences. Like a lot of them are even like pros around my record, right? Like a lot of them are just throwing to throw, and I just don't fight like that, which is
Yeah,
why I'm not concerned about any of these guys in Arizona or anything like that, man. Like I'm trying to be as good as those top 15 UFC fighters. Like I want to be as good as Poirier. I want to be good as Justin
I
Gaethje.
will say this, man. After covering the past two roughs with you, and covering other guys and stuff, you are one of those guys where I don't even want to talk to you the first 2 days or the 2 days leading up to the event because you're so zoned in, you're so focused, you're so zenned out. Like I don't even want to disturb it, and you can even see it on fight day, in the back, walking through the locker rooms and seeing the vibes of people, and you're just peaceful. You're peaceful. You're zoned out. You're focused, and that's just something that I noticed even in that last fight, heading in. Not the Trinidad fight so much. I mean, yeah, you were focused, you were zoned out, everything was insane, but that fluke one, it was just something about your focus level on that fluke one. It was just crazy to me. And that was from the outside looking in. That was one of my first weekends of interaction with you, and not knowing if that was normally you or anything like that. Just looking at you and being like, man, he's fucking focused. You
Yeah.
know,
I would say my biggest influences in terms of athleticism and sports, besides, Muhammad Ali, the little picture right behind me, love him, rest in peace. I would also say my second biggest influence would be Kobe Bryant. Just Kobe's mentality is something of a phenom, man. Like, it's absolutely phenomenal. It was a different mentality that you really don't see in a lot of athletes. Like, not even top 1% of athletes share that same mindset, that Kobe mindset.
and they
And
all talk about it too. It's a
yeah,
common thing. Like even the top guys right now, um, say it themselves. Like, I'm just trying to be as great as that. I just want to be. I'm following that line, that precedence that he set.
sorry, my cat's just spitting all over the floor right now.
No, no,
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's literally just got drool just coming down his face. It's not even like a hairball. It's just drooling like he's a basset hound.
You get too much catnip?
I don't know what's wrong with him. My other cat's just staring at him like, dog, you good? Like,
Yeah, stay over there with that. You seen that TikTok with the rats? He's like, hey, he left some cheese out over here for us.
ew, oh my God, he is drooling. This is disgusting.
Well, I wanted to before we get out of here,
He's coming to my feet. Keep going. I'm sorry.
no, I'm just but I wanted to give you a chance to kind of elaborate a little bit for the people that didn't catch us at the pre-fight show on kind of like where your mission and your direction is, and the light you wanted to shed on what's going on in Palestine, and just that whole situation.
No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you always asking me about it too. It really shows that you care. I'll keep it as concise as possible. My biggest thing is I just want to, like, as short as possible as I can make it, is I really just want to influence the children out there, in all honesty. Like, I want those children, the children in Palestine or any of the refugee camps in the Middle East, right? Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, whatever, wherever they are, I want them to be able to, even if it's maybe just 100 kids or just 1,000 kids, I want one of them to be able to just look at their phone and to know that somebody who's just thousands of miles away from them cares, gives a shit about them, and continues to talk about them. Like, that's really my biggest reasoning behind all of this, is that somebody in this world, this vast, sometimes empty world where it feels like nobody in this world cares, that somebody out there is still talking about them, or still fighting for them, or still shows that they mean something to them. And that's the biggest thing. Like, when I think about, like, just the kids out there, man, it really does break my heart. Like, that's the biggest thing, is like, you're talking about children who are 5 to whatever age they can even get to, are suffering with anxiety, PTSD, and depression. And as somebody who personally went through all that, um, and had to go through that all alone, I don't want them ever thinking that they have to go through that all alone.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing for me, is, and luckily I found my way. I was able to cut through the forest of solitude, I guess. But I don't believe anybody in this world, any human in this world, needs to go through that just so they can feel alive or feel like they're worth something. And that's the
Mhm.
biggest. Like, I'm at a very small level right now, and the little ripples that I'm making in the pond are very tiny. But soon, I know it. Soon, I'll be making waves in an ocean.
Yeah, I always tell Josh, we talk about it often, man. Consistency. Um, whether it's whether you affect two people on a regular basis and that grows to three, eventually, man, if you keep pushing positivity into the world, if you keep doing the right thing, just like you were saying, fighting, I win every day, I win every day. You know, Kobe Bryant preached it all the time. Basketball, practice, practice, do this, repetition, do it, do it, do it. And even in this situation, you stay at something, especially a positive thing, eventually it's gonna take off, and eventually it's gonna that word of mouth thing from that they always talk about with marketing. It also spreads with positivity as well. Um, People pick up things from conversations.
Mm.
People hold on to things that are really meaningful. And, you know, it's etched in their head and it can't go anywhere. So as long as you stay consistent with the message and what you're trying to do to change the world or a person or whatever it is, eventually you'll get there. And I truly, truly, truly believe that. Um, that's our motto with our show, with the
Mm.
network, um, and
Lead by example.
right,
No,
right.
100% agree with that message, man. Like,
Yeah.
especially for someone who had to go through that. Like, I genuinely believe as long as you continue fighting, man, and just don't give up. Like, that's the biggest thing, man. Just don't give up. Just don't, just
Mm-hmm.
don't, don't let this world beat you, man. Don't let this world beat you. And
Yep.
eventually,
Absolutely. Even when you're beaten down and you're ready to give up and you feel like everything's against you, just keep on fighting, because even if there's just one person that sees that, if it sparks that flame in them and gives them that passion to do the same thing, it's that ripple effect and the chain is going to grow.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
So now it's time for our famous questions. Got a couple questions for you before we let you go.
Okay.
So, who was that one guy growing up that was like, man, that dude's a badass, and this is what I want to do? Who was that fighter that really cemented it to you and kind of pushed you in that
Interesting. That's a hard one because I guess for me, that's hard because for me, I remember my first UFC event that I ever watched was at a theater. My friend took me to the theater and said, "Hey, they're holding the UFC live event at the pay-per-view. You know, it was at like $25. You just had to pay to go watch it at the theater. You got to watch it
direction?
free and everything like that."
That's dope.
First UFC event it was Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Daniel Cormier, and
Damn.
I saw Daniel Cormier. Yeah, yeah. I saw Daniel Cormier just mop the mat with him. Well, not mop the mat with him, but ended up taking.
He pretty much did in that fight.
He destroyed him in that fight, and took him out. What was it, in the third? I believe he took him out. He choked
Yeah,
him out in the
Yeah.
third,
he
and
pummeled him in the second.
yeah, yeah, and
Wasn't it the first round though that Rumble Johnson got just made him go swimming for a second with a nasty overhand?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then his wrestling took over.
Yeah, and then his
Uh-huh.
wrestling took, and in that moment, for some reason, I just told myself, I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do. That's the next thing in my life. So I saw that, and that's kind of like what got me going. I wouldn't really say like I sat here and I looked at one fighter and was like, oh, I want to be like that fighter so badly. It was more of I saw Daniel Cormier hold the title, and all I saw was the title, and I was like, I want that.
That's dope. That's dope.
You don't want to be
Especially
like any
Daniel
other fighter. You
Cormier,
want to
man.
be Loai Abushaar.
Exactly. Like I've always believed to be who I am and myself, and so all I saw was myself holding that belt, and I was like, "That's what I want." I never really sat here and Like, I'm not the type of person to idolize humans. Like, it's just not who I am. Like I pay respects to a lot of great individuals in this world, but I don't really idolize any human.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're not supposed to. You know, we're all the same.
Exactly.
Some of us have just achieved other things and greater things quicker.
Exactly. And we're supposed to all just learn from each other. At the end of the day, just learn from the history. Just learn from history.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Our brains are a sponge for a reason, man. Um. So my second question to you before I hand it over to Josh, he has his question for you as well. Um, who would you say that you would be compare your fighting style closest to? Who would you say resembles your fighting style
Um, that's hard. That's really hard because I have a I have a natural taekwondo base. So I'm kind of like um Wonder Boy in that sense, right? Long stance, like to throw kicks a lot, but at the same time, I can pick up fighting styles very easily. Like that is like I can see somebody do something, and I can imitate it to the best of my ability. Like I can, like
That's
I've
dangerous for a fighter.
yeah, like I can. That's the thing is, and that's just obviously with striking. Wrestling is a whole nother beast and animal. But in terms of striking and imitating somebody's striking ability, I'm pretty good at imitating striking. But I pick up little things from every single fighter that I watch and I enjoy. Like one of the things I picked up from Charles Oliveira was just that simple, where he like lifts his front leg up to his
Mm-hmm.
heel. All he does is lift his heel all the way to his butt to if anybody kicks a calf kick and it kind of
Yeah.
just whips right underneath it, and then he every single time he does that, and then he goes straight into a 1-2, and his stance is very short. So he has a very small stance. It's not a very wide stance. It's very small. So he lifts that leg up. You whiff really badly, and he jumps into a 1-2 right away. And that's something
Catches you off guard.
yeah, something I picked up very naturally, and I love that fighting ability from Charles Oliveira. But also one of the things I picked up from John Jones is faking the shot going into a backwards elbow. Like I saw him do that, and I hit that move uh, all the time. Like it's a
It's such
very
a dangerous ass move.
and it's something I saw John Jones do maybe once or twice, and I was like, that is a beautiful move. I need to hit that move. And I've been hitting it consistently. It's just a move that I really like doing. And then let's see, who else did I pick? So, oh look, and then even Shook, the way that Shook Hashan, like I've seen the way that he boxes, and just constantly moving his head. Like I picked up a few things from him. So like that's always been the person that I've been. Like I'm more like if you want to say like I'm a Pokemon, I'm kind of like Ditto. Like like I can imitate a lot. Like it's not, and I have a very funky style to me. Like if you want me to fight funky, I can fight funky. I can consistently switch my stance. Like I can dance around and move my feet like Muhammad Ali. Like I can do all that. It's it's just something that comes really natural to me of like striking and then moving around, kind of like Cuban boxers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want me to just set my feet and box like a Mexican, I can do that as well. So it's like I have a very versatile fighting style when it comes to striking. But again, grappling and jiu-jitsu and wrestling, that's a whole nother animal. That's a whole nother beast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it requires a whole different type of cardio too. But with the stand up, it's very aggressive chess. You have to be very calculated. You have to be very strategic, and to have the ability to mirror people so successfully and replicate even better results is an extremely valuable skill to have too.
No, 100%.
All right, Josh, go ahead and hit with your question.
So my question, and I've got all kinds of mixed answers, and I love every single one of them. But for my question for you is that for one fight, if you could pick anybody at all, alive or dead, to be in your corner for that one fight, who would you pick?
Mm.
That's
Alive
usually the first answer that comes out of everybody's mouth.
alive or dead? Interesting. I would would it be wrong if I just say the messenger, the prophet, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, just to just have him in my corner? I feel like I could win any fight if I had the prophet in my corner. The man who's in my religion who directly God spoke to. I feel like if he was in my corner, I'd win. I'd win any war or battle. Like I could go to UFC Gold right now as long as he's in my corner, and somehow I'd win. So that wouldn't be a bad one.
I agree with that.
That's not a bad one, honestly.
Can't go wrong with that.
I think wasn't it Osama al-Wadala? He also said Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah,
No, not Muhammad Ali.
He said Allah, right?
Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the prophet, like the prophet of the Muslims, the messenger.
Oh, okay. My apologies. Sorry about that.
No,
about that.
You're good.
See, I'm still learning as well myself.
I'm actually friends with his grandsons, Biagio and Biagio Ali.
Good boxers too.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. He fights for PFL. I'm actually pretty good friends with him. He's a good guy, real good guy, good heart. But no, I'm talking about the prophet. Like, think about it. If I had a prophet in my corner, I'd win. Like, if I had Moses or Jesus in my corner, you're gonna tell me I'm gonna lose that fight?
You can't lose.
Oh,
That's
no.
like that's cementing it for sure.
I had Prophet Adam, Prophet Abraham. I'm winning. It don't matter what's happening. I'm winning that fight.
Hey, yeah, guaranteed.
It's guaranteed.
See, we're gonna have to go out sometime, get dinner, so that way you just give me a full breakdown on this stuff, because I love learning about cultures, especially different religions and that. So, dude, I love it. Just give me a breakdown of all of it.
Inshallah. Anytime, man. Anytime. You can always ask me questions. I'm a very open book. Again, I don't know everything. A lot of the times I might have to Google something, but I know enough about my culture where I'm like, because I'm still learning myself. I'm still reading the Quran and learning myself and everything. So there are scholars who know so much more, which also kind of goes to the whole Palestinian thing. Again, there's like scholars and activists who study every single event that's occurred, which is why I don't sit here acting like I'm some sort of activist or I'm some sort of scholar. Just a guy who just wants Palestinian kids to be happy.
Right.
Yeah, that's a respectable and admirable thing too.
Definitely. And there's definitely a need and a place for it. This world has so much negativity and evil spewed into it. We need more people spewing positivity and good, for sure. But yeah, man, before we let you go, anything that you would like to say before you get out of here? Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anything?
Huge shout out to myself for making it. No, I'm playing. No, I just want to thank you guys for putting all this. It's been real nice. You guys are very great individuals, giving me all the opportunity to speak my mind and speak as much as I want. I really appreciate that from you two. Shout out to all my coaches and my teammates. Shout out to all my sponsors as well, each one of them that have been sponsoring me throughout all of these professional fights. Shout out to my manager. Without him and getting me all these fights as quickly as he's been doing it, Roman Athletic Institution, I wouldn't be where I am right now. But in all honesty, all jokes aside, man, big shout out to myself, honestly. Like, that's as long as I stay patient, I keep going, man. Big things are gonna happen.
Definitely, man.
Definitely. There's only one Loai Abushaar.
Exactly, man. And I'm grateful for it all. Like, I'm grateful for every single negative, positive, up and down, high and low moment. Like, every single thing that has occurred in my life, I'm very grateful. And I love the struggle. I love the fact that I have to get over something. I love the fact that I have to prove to people that I am who I am. At the end of the day, man, just like Marlo said on The Wire, my name is my name. My name is my name.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't change that. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to July. Now that you mentioned that, I'm hoping you do go out there. I'll be out there. I'm not sure exactly what day, but if you do the 7th or so, whatever day that fight goes, I'll make sure I'm out there because I'm gonna be out there that week. That's
All right, sure, man. We'll link
fight
up.
week and summer league basketball. So we'll
Oh,
definitely link up.
okay.
We'll definitely link up.
And you can see it by my Instagram. I know a little bit about basketball. I'll be playing a little bit here and there. I got that jersey from PWB free.
Dude, that was a dope jersey. I saw that. That was
Yeah,
dope.
it's very cool. Honestly, I absolutely love it. It's incredible.
Well, man, we definitely got to go play some hoops, man. You know.
I challenged Eric Anders to a game of 1-on-1. So I'm gonna be playing Eric Anders very soon and record that, put it on the gram. We just gotta wait because he's fighting in June, so we're gonna do it after his fight. And we going ones and twos, first to seven. I'm gonna spank him so hard. He don't even know what's gonna happen. I might have gotten cut from my high school basketball team. He's got no idea. I got number one defense, man. My defense goes crazy.
I'm gonna have to grab some popcorn for this one, man.
Yeah.
We might have to go hit the course, man. That's all I used to do. Now you talk.
Hey, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, no, see, I got
Uh,
small hands, so I throw air balls. I got good defense, though.
Hey, as long as you can stay in front of your man, we'll figure out the rest for you. That's why there's
Exactly.
5 players on the court.
Don't let him cross you, and play
Yeah,
the pick and roll. Play the pick and roll.
That's true. That's
exactly.
true.
Hey, but Loai, man, it was fun, man. I really appreciate speaking with you. It's been my pleasure. I've enjoyed every last second of it.
I appreciate you guys as well, and I wish you guys the most success after this.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you too, man. It's been absolutely awesome.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, next time, man, and let us know when the next fight's scheduled, and we can't wait to see you.
Hey, I'll be posting it soon. Remember, follow me at Loai Bull. That's LOAIBULL. That's my Instagram. Follow me. I post everything. I post funny videos, and I'm always posting all my fight stuff. So the more people who follow me, the bigger I can get.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll talk to you here soon, and again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah. Yeah, peace, brother.
Another successful
That was a
show.
dope one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I gaffed at my own question, but that's okay.
It's all good, man.
No.
Anything you want to
No,
say
no,
before we
it's
get
cool
out of
though.
here?
No, I just, again, I love this community so much, and it's like just like a week and a half ago, you and I were talking about like niches and how every person kind of fills which roles and how they find it. And I was thinking about with ourselves, like I feel like what really fits our niche is just the genuine, authentic connection with these fighters. Because this sport is about building legacy. And that's exactly what we want to do is build a legacy for these guys, show the human side, and the appreciation we get from them is just absolutely phenomenal.
I agree. I agree, man. Um, I enjoy it. I enjoy giving them a platform to speak on. Just playing around with this shit. But yeah, and hearing their stories, man, and just hearing the human side of the fighter, understanding what they're about, who they are. It's yeah, it's fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's all I have to
No, it
say.
wasn't too bad for time being on the phone.
Say that again. You broke up.
Oh, I was just saying it's my first time being on the phone, so it wasn't too bad. I could tell there's a bit of a lag because of the pause, but so far it's been too bad.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been too bad. No, sir. But we talk about the backside. Talking about us. Growing our show, growing the network, stepping up, setting up. You're setting up your area now for the show. So next week or two, it'll look totally different behind Josh and how he's going to be recording and looking on his side. So we're progressing too, man, growing and trying to make some changes and get some things right. So, but from ASAP and the Throwing Hands crew, we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace. I was waiting for you because you were delayed. But out of here.
Oh, wait.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole
Rebel soul child got a fist balled. I'm a respawn of ancestors and I'm blessed, They are not him, tell him fess up. I get check stub, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella reckless. Yeah, I got